All right, lacrosse fans, welcome to Schellenberger Field on the campus of the University of Lynchburg as we get set for women's lacrosse. The 2025 season starts here on a splash-tastic Saturday, we're calling it. It is very wet outside. It is cold and wet outside as well. Temperatures hovering in the upper 30s here in Central Virginia as we get set for game one of the season for the Lynchburg Hornets and the Christopher Newport Captains. Lynchburg was supposed to play on Thursday down at Guilford, but bad weather forced the postponement of that game. That'll be made up down the road. We'll get you an official date on that one here in just a second. I think you get an idea about the weather conditions from the visuals on your screen there. It is not pleasant. The gals seem to be enjoying it. I guess that's what you have to do on a day like today. You really kind of have to just lean into it and embrace the weather conditions. And I think the old school coaches would tell you, hey, it's raining on their side of the field as well. So we'll see if there is a competitive advantage to be gained. We've already seen a men's lacrosse game on the turf here at Schellenberger earlier today. The Gettysburg Bullets came into town and beat the Lynchburg Hornets on the men's side. So we'll see if the ladies can exact some revenge here on Schellenberger Field as we get set for the draw control. Lynchburg was 10-8 last year in Mackenzie Rafferty's first season. They will look to build on that. Got to see them practice on Thursday. The ladies had a really good session there. They'll be taking on a very good CNU captains team, a ranked captains team that has made back-to-back NCAA appearances. Lost to Washington and Lee last year after beating the Generals in the regular season. So this is a team for Lisa Valentine in her 10th season. They look to take the next step and continue the success. Between the wet weather and the new faces, we may have trouble identifying some of the players, but we'll do the best we can here. CNU will operate on offense to open up the 2025 campaign. Captains clad in the royal blue with the white numbers. Lynchburg defending the goal to our right in the home whites. Kyle Haney hanging out with you. Ethan Morotsky, our outstanding producer, director, advisor. We've got kind of a mash unit up here because there's basketball going on campus as well. So there's a lot happening. To the doorstep early, but a call here is going to wipe away a potential goal-scoring chance. It'll be a free position opportunity now for CNU as the captains get set to work here, and that one is in the goal. Early chance and early conversion for CNU. Kate Lemondola on the board quickly to start the season here. Multiple preseason All-Americans for Christopher Newport. Kate Lemondola is a returner who had a lot of success last year for CNU. 5 goals last season for Kate Lemondola, and this is a squad for Lisa Valentine. She said, we do bring back a lot, but we lost a lot as well. Graduated 6 players who played over 60 minutes. They lost 8 players who had 17 or more starts. Lynchburg brings back plenty of talent all the way around. They've got a talented goalkeeper, Alexis Sin, back there now, a sophomore from Elkton, Maryland. She transferred in from West Virginia Wesleyan. Beaten one time there on the first free position opportunity. Always something to look for is how do both teams play in the free position chances. Reagan Bradley on the draw control for Lynchburg there. That'll be important. Hornets were pretty good in draw control last season in their 10-8 campaign. I got to get a vantage point where I can see out of the window a little bit better. As Lynchburg will look to restart things. And they get it back in play. The talented premier goal-scoring option for Lynchburg is Sydney Dumas. She's got 52 goals last season, 18 assists. Tops in points, assists, and goals last year. And she's a back-to-back second-team All-ODAC performer. 18 hat tricks in her career, 28 multi-goal games for Sydney Dumas. She will be option 1 for Lynchburg, but the options don't stop there, including Reagan Bradley, who will cradle it to center as Lynchburg will look to work it around the horn here against this captain's defense that was pretty stingy last season. These two teams played later in the season last year. Takeaway there, and now a scrap for it. A chance for Lynchburg, and they convert in front. Tie ball game, 1-1. Good job to stick with it for Lynchburg. Was it Neely Morris on the conversion there? No replays for us in this game today. Very impressive for Lynchburg to stay with that. See, a lot of players for Lynchburg sporting those blue kind of medical surgical gloves, looking for a little bit more grip here on the stick in the wet weather. And that's a tricky balance to find. You see black gloves there because you want to be able to slide up and down the stick a little bit, obviously. Maya Hausauer there was the one we were looking at, number 28. You want some slide on the stick, but you also need grip as well. So that's a fine line in these wet conditions. We talked in our men's game about how low shots will skip sometimes, and they can be harder with moisture on the turf. If you get so much wet weather, then the ball just kind of dies on the turf. Another draw control for Lynchburg. Got to like the energy early. Might lose it here on a battle on the far sideline. Yeah, look at the speed here from Christopher Newport. Watch out. This could be dangerous. As the rain continues to fall, that'll be the expectation that we'll have rain throughout this game. It has been a little bit harder at times. And then other times it'll kind of subside. You know how a rainstorm works, though, Lacrosse fans. Don't need to explain that to you. That was Meredith Bornholt there. Goal line extended. She will be one of the key defenders for Lynchburg. Also got Taylor Doherty back in the mix. Only played 6 games last season because of a knee injury, but Doherty is healthy, back out there. She was a 2023 All-ODAC second-team performer. So there's some stalwarts on that back line, and again, the addition of a talented goalkeeper has got Lynchburg feeling really good about their chances this year. Schedule will be tough, including a ranked CNU team in town here to begin the season. Captains won this matchup 19-4. They were up 12-1 to start the game last year. This could be a different story today, though. I think you'd probably still have to say on paper it would be an upset. 20 on the shot clock. You can see that over the goal in your screen, but no shot clock graphic for us on the score bug, so we'll try to update you when we can. Good setup there. Lynchburg stingy defensively. Clock down to 5. Captains have got to hurry, or maybe they'll just set up the defense. Yeah, captains will just send it into the corner and go back and play defense. I'd call that a nice win for Lynchburg. Defensively getting the shot clock violation. Outstanding stuff early. Ooh, Meredith Bornholt. Little trouble with that. Pardon me, that wasn't Bornholt. But there's Bornholt now trying to restore some order to the possession. CNU will take it over. A giveaway there for Lynchburg. You could argue some of it was forced. We'll see how much pressure CNU does with the attackers, how much of a full field ride they look to employ today in this one. I think we've already seen that CNU's got some foot speed. They clearly have some talented athletes and some good players as well. Brooklyn Morrison, maybe first on our list there, number 1, the junior from Ashburn, 77 goals last year. She does a little bit of everything. Can't wait to tell you about her stat line from last season. We'll wait for maybe a slower moment in the action to get into that for the captains. 1-1 game, Lynchburg having to defend again. Been successful for the most part. And it's getting so cold you can't even talk now. There's Sydney Dumas playing some defense on the back line for Lynchburg. Shell around the goal here as CNU looks for some seams and some gaps to exploit. Down to 20 on the shot clock. Captain's patient. So a little bit of a running transition option early for CNU, but pretty patient here when they've gotten into the offensive setup. Nice save. Alexis Sen looked like she sighted that the whole time and pulled it in. So really, you got to say 2 outstanding defensive sequences by Lynchburg. Now we'll see if the Hornets could take their first lead of the season. Action on the far sideline. Double team whistle. Let's see how quickly Lynchburg does opt to get Sydney Dumas involved. She's set up here scratch that. We'll find Sydney Dumas in just a moment. Lynchburg, again, with a talented goal scoring list. And players that can be impactful. Reagan Bradley trying to circle and get downhill towards the goal. Stymied good defense from the captains. The CNU team back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. As there is a scramble for the ball. Right goal line extended. 8:35 left to play in the first period. It's a 1-1 ball game. We wondered if our men's game would be a little low scoring because of the weather conditions and sloppy play, but it was a 16-9 Gettysburg win earlier today. Obviously not the highest scoring game, but I don't know. I don't know that the weather affects the players quite as much as maybe the broadcasters think it does. Lisa Valentine talked about we would see how the game went on and how the sticks loosen up. That's one thing you used to hear the old school players talk a lot about, how when you're in the rain, the mesh on the stick will loosen up and it makes the ball handling and the passing and the shooting a little bit tougher. So we get a stoppage in play. I think they're looking for a shot clock reset maybe here. But I think the newer technologies and the newer mesh are a little bit better in the rain than they used to be. And footwear is obviously improved. We're playing on the artificial turf here at Schellenberger Field, so that typically holds up well in the elements. But this is a strong rain, and it's very cold out there too. I think sometimes you just don't quite have the feeling in your hands that you're used to. So that can make it difficult as well. We're almost ready to restart again. So it looks like 55 on the shot clock. 8:29 left to play in the first quarter. It's a 1-1 game. Lynchburg back at home against Virginia Wesleyan this Wednesday. But speaking of weather, there's snow in the forecast for Central Virginia. So who knows if that game will get played. Maybe there's an opportunity to move that game up to Tuesday perhaps, as I guess the officials are not ready to restart the play just yet. So we get a chance to talk about some things like this. This is game 1 of 17 for Lynchburg. Again, it was supposed to be game 2, but a Guilford game rescheduled for February 25th. Lynchburg's going to go on a spring break trip in early March down to Florida. That's exciting. For CNU, they will be at St. Mary's on Saturday, February 22nd, and they're going to take on another ODAC foe, Randolph-Macon, Wednesday, or the following Wednesday. It's a CNU non-conference schedule that will be heavy with the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. They'll take on Shenandoah. They'll take on Washington and Lee. That's pretty typical for the captains, not just in women's lacrosse, but in a lot of sports. And it's a nice matchup. It tends to be a very competitive matchup for everybody, as CNU seems to be good at everything. This is a women's lax program for the captains that started in 2001, and they've had 17 winning seasons. So I guess 25 years or so of lacrosse, and they've had 17 winning seasons in there. That's a pretty good tradition and a pretty good pedigree for the gals from Newport News. And we'll just continue talking here as we're not quite ready for lacrosse again just yet, trying to get this shot clock straightened out. CNU last year, here's a good fact about them, 12-3 when scoring 10 or more, and they never lost when they scored a dozen goals or more. So it's a CNU team that they can be very good defensively. They can grind you down in that area, but they look to score, and they can score and score often. Christopher Newport, Lynchburg, just to talk about their goal-scoring exploits. When they scored 10 or more, double figures, they're 10-2. And maybe that is an oversimplification, right? Because when you score a lot of goals, you tend to score more than your opponent, and you win. But I think it does tell you about the styles that these teams can play and maybe would like to play. Lynchburg last year averaged 12.89 goals per game. They gave up 11.5. Actually did not have more draw controls than their opponent last year, so that's been nice to see Lynchburg doing well in that area to start this game. Lynchburg, more stats to throw at you here while we wait. They outshot opponents last year, 28.9 shots per game to just 20 for their opponents. Lynchburg was 44% in the free position opportunities. Opponents actually scored more from those and had a higher percentage. So that's something Mackenzie Rafferty has said, yeah, we got to get a little bit better in that area. Got to get better in all areas, but there's certain areas you're going to emphasize. Here we go. Back to action, an early chance. That ball slid out of the stick. And we'll see. This is going to be a free position chance for Lynchburg. The first one of the season, I believe, for Lynchburg. Yes, McKenna Steinow will have it, just left of center. Steinow, junior from Annapolis, Maryland. She can score goals, a career high of 5 in the game. Nice job to come back. Little back check action from Brooklyn Morrison. Back to how good she is. She does a little bit of everything. As this clear happens, listen to these stats about Brooklyn Morrison. She was one of 10 players in Division III last year who recorded 50-plus points, 50-plus caused turnovers, 50-plus draw controls. So that tells you she does a little bit of everything. We saw the defense right there on display. 54 caused turnovers last year was a new single-season school record. Talking about Brooklyn Morrison, the outstanding midi for CNU, a junior from Ashburn. Lynchburg had a possession briefly on that far sideline, but that's going to get stalled out. They'll have to give it back. Let's see how Lynchburg pressures here. Reagan Bradley and Sydney Dumas, the two attackers up front who really can do a lot of damage when they are in a defensive posture, whether it's on Lynchburg's attacking side of the field or whether they truly drop back and play defense. Captains will work it around. Malin Eversole in there. She's from Lexington, Virginia. Faith O'Connor now will get an attack started. 1-1 ball game. Haven't had much of a flow and a feel yet to this one because of those shot clock issues that we seem to have sorted out. There's always going to be technical difficulties. We've learned that over the years. In fact, if everything's going right one game, that's probably when you should start to worry about things. A screen at the top. First time we've really seen the pick game in action. Lynchburg seemed to defend that well. As CNU works it around the goal for more opportunities. Shot clock down to 20 now. Captains shouting instructions from the sideline. Long pass, partially deflected. CNU has time. Brooklyn Morrison immediately passed that one over to Paige Henry. Henry with no real foot on the gas. They lob it to the doorstep. Ball is loose. Shot clock down to 1. Lynchburg defense holds again. Really good from Lynchburg. I count that now as 3 important defensive stands. And you got to like this start from Lynchburg. Maya Hausauer does a lot of the work to bring that into the offensive zone. Now she'll tap the brakes, let the rest of the teammates catch up, and Lynchburg can get set up. I think the Hornets should feel real good about the way the early stages of this game have unfolded. Remember, it's this ranked CNU squad, their highest preseason ranking in program history for CNU. So right now, Lynchburg standing the test, going toe-to-toe with the captains. Still a lot to play, but I think those 3 defensive stands, you got to file that away for Lynchburg and take some major confidence from that. See if Lynchburg could get more confidence. Sydney Dumas circling the defense, turn and burn time, lost the ball. Good takeaway. Believe it was Brooklyn Morrison again. Back to her caliber. She's going to get matched up on the other team's best a lot, and she's going to win those matchups a lot. So much skill. Stick skills, foot speed, understands the game. Got everything you want from a player. Just a junior, by the way. Honorable mention All-American last year. She was second on the team in ground balls last season. She does it all. See, Brooklyn Morrison, I think, wants it back. Yes, number 1 in blue. A little mishandled there. And I think on all of those, we're going to be debating how much of that was the rain. It's also game 1. I think most coaches would tell you that that's never going to be the most aesthetically pleasing lacrosse you'll see in a season. February lacrosse is always going to be a little bit of a mixed bag, but hard to know if you pinpoint the weather or not. Emily Schultz, free position opportunity. She'll storm in, then she lost the handle. Was that poked away there? Or was it just a kind of not the best cradling? Lynchburg's trying to break it out here. Still a 1-1 ball game. No clear yet from Lynchburg. They'll take their time. Meredith Bornholt, talented senior from Cincinnati, Ohio. One of the real hard workers on this squad. Taylor Doherty on that defensive back line is going to be important again this season. She lost most of last year due to injury, but back. And she's one that when you talk to the coaches and support staff about, really just as hard of a worker as you will find. Hornets on the move, looking to set up the offensive attack now. Still a 1-1 ball game. Lynchburg's defense, you got to say, has really been the highlight so far. Denying the free position opportunity on the most recent exchange. Here we go, Sydney Dumas looking to get busy, doing what she does best. High stick cradling, lost that. I believe it's going to be a free position chance here for Lynchburg. Should be Sydney Dumas over on the right side. Scored in every game last season, and it is a 20 consecutive game goal scoring streak for Sydney Dumas. As now we get a little delay for the official to adjust the footwear. Oh, Dumas almost wasn't ready for the whistle there. Got double teamed and then dispossessed. I think she thought that delay was going to be a little bit longer, and then she kind of got blitzed by the double team and wasn't quite ready for it. That's a rare miscue for Sydney Dumas. Her sister was an outstanding player here at the University of Lynchburg. Watch out, great chance, and it will lead to a goal. Excellent passing, put it right on the doorstep. Number 10, Sarah Erickson. First year from Annapolis, Maryland, the recipient of a sweet-tasting apple right in front, and she did not miss. 2-1, CNU on top now. The teams discuss it. It all kind of led from the free position chance that Dumas lost. CNU didn't get out in a true fast break, but they got down the other end quickly, and Lynchburg was not quite prepared for it defensively. We'd been talking about Lynchburg's outstanding defense prior to that. That was a letdown, a miscue there. I believe it was number 18, Emily Schultz. It was Schultz, the sophomore from Warners, New York, on that goal. Beg your pardon, fans. Schultz is 18, Erickson is 10. And those can look similar, especially in the rain. Reagan Bradley, senior from Ocean Pines, Maryland, will handle the draw for Lynchburg, who finds themselves trailing by 1 again. You see both players trying to work some feel and some warmth back into the hands. The extremities take a beating on a day like this. Lynchburg will check in number 13, Margaret Scoggin. Sophomore attacker from Raleigh, North Carolina. What a shot. I mean, what a shot by our crew who's outside braving the elements. That tells you the story right there. That's a fantastic visual. And another long delay back to this game really has lacked any kind of a rhythm so far. CNU is going to get the draw control. This is where you got to be careful. If the captains get back-to-back possessions, they can really pull away from you quickly with their talented offense. Paige Henry handling. Now it's Malin Eversole. Shot was high, went over the top of the bar. CNU will get to it first. And Lynchburg will have to try to slam the door shut again. 2 and change left in the first period. Still 50 on the shot clock for the captains. Good work by Meredith Bornholt. She is a sturdy defender. Tall and rangy as well. Really moves well for a player her size. She knows how to use this size as well. Not afraid to be physical. Not afraid to use the long levers, the arms and legs. Here's a takeaway. by Lynchburg. Good work by Potrace, the freshman, on the ball's out of play. Lynchburg saying they had it. Megan Wheeler with a strong argument that it should be Lynchburg ball. But instead, the captains will take things with Malin Eversole. Malin Eversole last season started 5, played in 20, 12 goals, 5 assists. Great contributions. It's a team that lost their top 2 goal scorers and 5 of the top 6. And they lose 5 of the top 6 point scorers as well. Christopher Newport. They bring back enough to garner that preseason ranking inside the top 20 and the highest ranking preseason-wise in school history. Lynchburg looks to get tough here on the defensive end. Kenna Steinow back there. Meredith Bornholt now at the point. Job to take away a potential chance there. Captain's offense has been patient. Bornholt shoving the defender away. Pardon me, Taylor Doherty. Number 17, Taylor Doherty. Game clock at 20 now. Shot clock insignificant. Instructions shouted from the CNU sideline. They're going to run a set play to get to the middle. What a save, Alexis Sin. Fantastic job by her. The transfer played her lacrosse at West Virginia Wesleyan last year. Played in 9 games. Had a save percentage of just under 52%. And there's the horn to end quarter number 1. The captains lead 2-1. And we're back in just a moment. D3 Women's Lacrosse on LHSN.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Oh, yes, the rain continues to fall on Lakeside Drive. Hope you're staying warm and dry wherever you are. Thanks for checking us out on this soggy Saturday, lacrosse fans. Christopher Newport leads 2-1 over the Lynchburg Hornets. 15 minutes in the rear view, and we're ready for period number 2. think we felt a strong start for Lynchburg, especially defensively. Some solid work by the captains to get the 2-1 lead. Last year, Christopher Newport was up 12-1 after one period of play. So you already have to say it's a better result than that. Now, there's a danger in just comparing year to year. Each team is different. Each squad's different. But I think overall, if you're Lynchburg, you can't feel terrible about the start. Christopher Newport ranked 15th in the preseason poll, by the way. Mentioned they were in the top 25 a couple times. Well, they're in the top 15. 15th. And, of course, in women's lacrosse, you got a couple different polls as well. But this is a good CNU team that has high expectations and hopes for their season. They would like to get further in the NCAA tournament after back-to-back postseason appearances. They lost to Washington Lee in round 3 last year. That's after beating the Generals in the regular season. Takeaway there from Lynchburg. Excellent. Meredith Bornholt, always in the right place, it seems. Team high 50 ground balls and 26 caused turnovers there. That felt like just a clean interception from Meredith Bornholt, who is one of the team leaders for this squad. Defensive presence garnered her a first-team Old Dominion Athletic Conference selection. She was second-team All-State last year. But Lynchburg has lost the possession. Captains on the run again. Hornets gave up a goal in sort of a modified transition break earlier. So that'll be important to watch and see how Lynchburg does run back when they do lose a possession in the midfield or on the attacking side. Teams do switch ends. CNU scoring on the cage to our left. Impressed with the patience from Christopher Newport. Had a shot clock violation. Comes Kate Lemondola. She'll look to get around. Too much contact there, and it will be a free position opportunity for Kate Lemondola. Hornets stymied one of these earlier. And there's Lemondola just having the ball drop out. Talked about the wet conditions can affect the cradling and the ball handling. That one's a goal. Lemondola went near side post low and got it by Alexis Sen. 3-1, the advantage for Christopher Newport. 12:55 left to play in the first half. CNU last year in the free position chances had results that they would like to see improve. We mentioned those numbers a lot. Not all of those free positions are created equal as far as where you're at and the personnel that are involved. I think most coaches will tell you it can be a big-time separator. The teams that are good in those free positions, the teams that finish those tend to be the ones that are more successful. It's Reagan Bradley again at the draw for Lynchburg. And number 18, Emily Schultz for CNU. Coach Lisa Valentine, we chatted via the email. She said the draw control would be very impactful this year as they replace their main draw control artist there. This is always fun to watch the official get the heads of the sticks screwed on there and get everybody where they want them. I mean, look at this. This looks like one of those arm wrestling things where they get you set up. But that official taking great care to make sure the players were in the position that he preferred. CNU will win this draw control. Went back towards their offensive end, and they used that foot speed to scamper on it. That's such a big part, too. The two players on the draw are very important, but the wings and the other players around big time, too. Well, what a move there to dodge and get a shot, but it's wide. Captains seem to be really asserting themselves on offense a little bit more. More pace, less patience. Kate Lemondola turning, shooting, and scoring. Another one, she went low and beat Alexis Sin. And now Lynchburg's back on their heels a bit. It's a tie ball game, 1-1. CNU took the initial lead, 1-0. Lynchburg tied. Now 3 unanswered so far for Christopher Newport. And if you're Lynchburg, you got to stop this blue momentum as quickly as you can. Easier said than done with the captain's talent. There is a good crowd outside the press box here. Captains fans always travel well. Lynchburg always great support. Kind of a bring your own energy type of game, though, if you're a player. You can't really expect the crowd to lift you up too much in weather like this. They're just trying to stay warm out there. So as a player, you really got to bring it. I'm sure there's more energy than just your normal practice, but gosh, you really have to do so much. Yeah, look at the official. Get the wrist where he wants him. This is fun. This is fun right here. And this is game one. Well, both these players do have some experience with the draw control. Here we go. Now we're ready to go. And you can't beat the whistle either, so that's always tricky. Another one for CNU. Not yet. Scramble forward as the captains do finally get the possession. Maddie Razgani. She is one to watch for Christopher Newport. A great season for Razgani last year. And watch out, here comes another goal for the captains. They score it. And it was number 1, Brooklyn Morrison. What a talent she is. 77 goals in the career. She's got another one. Always going to be impactful wherever she is at on the pitch. And CNU really, again, with the continued draw control and then their emphasis to shoot and score more. They're starting to pull away. Make it 4 unanswered right now for Christopher Newport. And we're not even midway through period number 2 yet. You got to be careful because this can get out of hand if you're Lynchburg. I wonder if we'll see a timeout at some point from Coach Mackenzie Rafferty. Particularly or especially if the captains were to score again. Coach Rafferty for Lynchburg in her second season. She was 7 years as the head coach at Division II Florida Tech. She played her lacrosse at the University of Delaware, a Chester Springs, Pennsylvania native. Another draw control win for Christopher Newport. Slightly better this time for Lynchburg because the ball did not go towards their offensive zone. CNU will actually have to work it down the field a little bit. Lynchburg can use some of those attackers in the ride, too, to try to stall things out. Long run down that far right sideline. It's got captains right where they need to be again pretty quickly, though. Lynchburg, you could see, sent multiple defenders over, but nobody could stop the streak. Drew Stanley getting the middle, shooting. There was a whistle that blew. Goal's going to count. Goal is going to count as Drew Stanley, sophomore from Richmond, just continued through. She had the full 6x6 to shoot out there. She got by defenders. Christopher Newport using multiple goal scorers in this one, as Lynchburg tries to heat back up literally and figuratively in this one. We were tied 1-1. 5 straight for CNU, though. Most recent from number 29, sophomore Drew Stanley. Looks like we do have a timeout. Yeah, Lynchburg's going to call it. We'll take time as well. 60-second break for us with the captains leading 6-1 over the Lynchburg Hornets. You're seeing it all on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We're back on Lakeside Drive, a wet and messy Saturday, very cold out there as well. Warmer on the Christopher Newport sideline as the captains are starting to really pull away in this one. A 1-1 ball game in the first quarter, and we saw several really great defensive stands. Yeah, well, how'd you like to be running on that track today? You would not set any personal records in a track and field event today, I can assure you that. But back to the lacrosse game. We thought Lynchburg had some really solid defensive work when the game was tied 1-1. But Christopher Newport really, again, just starting to pull away. This is what good teams do. Now, granted, last year it was 12-1 after quarter number 1. Lynchburg will get a draw control here. Slight delay. But Maya Hausauer will pick it up for Lynchburg. Cradling, looking for somewhere to go. Hornets have to take advantage of all these opportunities here, right? If you're not winning the draw controls, then when you do get a possession, really got to make it count. Reagan Bradley will deal the cards up top. Hausauer stymied, walled off. Carson Quigley in the mix. Quigley's a really good returner for Lynchburg, another hard worker. She jumped into goal last year when she had to a few times, and I guess she's probably still listed as maybe the backup goalkeeper. But Quigley more of an outfield player. That's where she's best and going to be biggest for the Hornets this season. Lynchburg looking for space. McKenna Steinow lost the ball. Captains will go the other direction. So we said Lynchburg really needed to take advantage. They did not take advantage there, although captains haven't cleared. And if you watch this exchange, clearing might be pretty tough right now. Hausauer put some heat on that, and then Reagan Bradley came in. Lynchburg will get it back. Up ahead it goes. Watch out for Neely Morris. Morris can score. She'll check the side and rear view mirrors for defenders and then also teammates. Morris still lively at the goal line extended. She'll work behind. Lynchburg looking to set up shop as the rain comes down even harder. You can see that on your screen. I mean, this is brutal. This is absolutely brutal conditions. You can argue, are the conditions playable or not? But we are playing, and it's a 6-1 Christopher Newport lead. See what Lynchburg can do. Reagan Bradley had a pass go over her head. Taylor Doherty tried to win the possession, but now she's going to try to sprint back and play defense. Captains on the run here. Probably the best way to stay warm on a day like today. Take off on the sprint. Now they'll get set up. To the middle. That one got wiped out of the stick. Good checking there by Lynchburg defensively. Sydney Dumas lost an edge and crashed out, but she's okay, and the ball went backwards. Pardon me, that's Virginia Heffernan. I beg your pardon. Heffernan's got it back, and all is well. Footing on a wet day obviously is something you look at. The traction's actually been okay. It's just the stick handling and controlling the rubber right there, as you saw Brooklyn Morrison with a takeaway for Christopher Newport. And we go the other direction. Nice move to get by the defender there. Save. Ball is free. Emily Schultz picked up the garbage but opted not to shoot. CNU was looking to get an orderly possession going on. We have an official stoppage. We're going to get a player that will be excused off. This is number 23, Elizabeth Potrace. It's a penalty. It's a green card penalty for the first year. Elizabeth Potrace from Yorktown, Virginia. Getting the word from our official. Here comes Christopher Newport now. To work it around again offensively. Some quick snap passing by the Hornets, and we'll get, or by the captains rather. And we'll now have another penalty. Free position chance coming up here for Christopher Newport. In the crouch and ready to get out of the starting blocks, number 15, Malin Eversole. Missed the shot. Captain still dangerous. Kate Lemondola dancing in. Ball behind. CNU got there first. Remember, whoever's closest to it when it goes out of play in the estimation of the official gets the possession. You'll see sometimes players dive after it, try to get in front of the other player. Players throwing the stick up. Would that go in or not? Hit the post. No. Play on. Captain's really getting some good looks. Lynchburg, again, defensively has been pretty sound at times as we get another whistle blowing as Faith O'Connor was taking off from the left side. Faith O'Connor, sophomore from Great Falls, Virginia. Free position chance for her. She'll try to go to the far post, going over the goalie and scoring. Faith O'Connor's got one in the back of the net, ripping the twine there, and it is now a 7-1 CNU lead. 6 unanswered for the captains. You see Lynchburg getting together defensively. A lot of communication there. Was at practice for a bit on Thursday, observing the squad, and well, it's fun to just listen to how the defense communicates. I think that's a trait in all sports. Defenses have to communicate. The field hockey coaches would tell us that communication is very important. The defensive communication in basketball, super important. Even in baseball, very important. And then the footwork, obviously, that's another trait, I think, of all sports. You got to play defense with the feet. You have to be able to move your feet and slide and get to the right place. Yes, the stick is important with the checking and all those kinds of things, but footwork first and foremost. 7-1 CNU. We're back at center for another draw control. Captains dominated these early. Lynchburg got one most recently, but now CNU has it again. Brooklyn Morrison, back to her skills. She's going to pick up so many of those draw controls. Anything in her area, she's just going to hoover it right up with her foot speed and her hand-eye coordination and skills. That's a hard word to say when you're cold and your teeth are chattering up here in the press box. We are inside. I believe the CNU player might have been in the crease there. It'll be Lynchburg ball. Yeah, we are in the press box here at Schellenberger, but we have an open window. And so maybe not quite as cold as everybody outside, but we're darn close to that cold. Lynchburg looking for momentum. 6:43 left to play in the first half. If you could get something before halftime for Lynchburg, you'd feel pretty good about that. Should build the confidence slightly. Chastity Kaner lost that ball. She kind of went down Main Street there, but the defensive pressure dislodged. Hornets have to go to work again here defensively. Well, they'll get this one back after an errant pass, a long pass from Christopher Newport. Passing such an interesting thing in all sports, too. You have to use the pass. It's faster than running. It's a great way to break down the defense, and those long passes will stretch the defense even more. But the trade-off is it's harder to be accurate with those long passes. And as you could imagine, long passing on a weather day like today, even tougher. Look at Taylor Doherty. Dodging and getting by a defender. Sounds like the coaches want Taylor Doherty to stay up and be more in an attacking posture. Taylor Doherty does have 3 career goals. She's a junior from Salisbury, Maryland. Mentioned she only played 6 last year after being a second-team All-ODAC performer her first year. A defender by trade, but definitely can do some scoring. Yellow card was given. A yellow card was given to Faith O'Connor for a slightly dangerous play. So let's see if Lynchburg can take advantage. It will be Doherty to bring it in the middle. Chastity Kaner with a brief touch. Now Reagan Bradley, who's really had the ball on her stick quite a lot. Not as much from Sydney Dumas yet today in this one for Lynchburg. Maybe not 100% healthy. See if we see Dumas even out there at the moment. Lynchburg trailing 7-1. We were tied 1-1, 6 unanswered for Christopher Newport. See if Lynchburg can break that unanswered goal-scoring run. Kaner leaning in, but walled off by a defender. Now it's Bradley going to the middle. What an excellent setup and a goal. Count it for Lynchburg. Needed that, and it was number 19, Neely Morris, on the conversion right in front of the net. Neely Morris, a junior from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. 38 goals, 10 assists last year. Second on the team in goals and points last season. Led in draw controls last year. Neely Morris giving Lynchburg what they needed. Good setup offensively. Patience there from Kaner, and then it was Reagan Bradley, I believe, with the on-target apple that Neely Morris was able to take a big bite out of in front. So the uninterrupted goal-scoring run from the captains is over. 6 in a row for CNU, but now Lynchburg has answered. We've got ourselves a 7-2 ball game. 4:53 left to play. Now, I said if Lynchburg could get one before halftime, take some confidence from that. Well, now they've got one. If you're the Hornets, go for 2 or 3 in a row and then really head to the dressing room with some momentum. Battle for this. Can Lynchburg scoop it up? Yes, Carson Quigley with the speed. She'll get trapped in the double team. Sideline trying to tightrope it. And she was out of bounds. So I would argue really great effort there from Carson Quigley. Lets Lynchburg get set up. Yes, you don't hang on to the possession, but you get set up. Now Lynchburg can do some pressuring of their own in the full field. McKenna Steinow, tip of that spear, but she couldn't wrestle the rubber away from Christopher Newport. Down the far right sideline it goes. Lynchburg back on the defensive end as it looks like the rain is slightly subsided. It's just down to a plain old drizzle now, but a cold drizzle at that. Subs for Lynchburg. Reagan Bradley is going to come off. Number 13, Margaret Scoggin in. Bradley's been an important piece so far, we thought, for Lynchburg. Really around the ball and with the ball a lot. This ball is free in the middle. Looks like Meredith Bornholt came out of there with it. That's one thing she does so well. Using the long reach, using her speed, and getting in the mix there for a takeaway. Chastity Kaner's on an island. Yeah, needs somewhere to go. Offloading left side. Smart play there. Okay, Lynchburg with a chance to get back-to-back goals and get some traction here. Maya Hausauer looking around, tosses softly back to Kaner. Waiting for the call from the sideline. This is Carson Quigley. Now it's Steinow who's going to waltz to the middle. She'll put her foot on the gas. Ooh, nice job changing directions. Opted not to shoot. Hausauer will spin. She couldn't quite get downhill. Good little help side D there to come over. Like Christopher Newport. You can tell they're really buttoned up on the defensive end. Lynchburg going to work from behind the net. The goalie Haley Chadwick for CNU. We haven't had to talk about her a ton. She hasn't faced a ton of shots. Screen. Refused. Steinow got dispossessed, and now the ball is loose and picked up by the captains. Really good defensive work there from CNU. Got to be happy with that if you're Coach Lisa Valentine. And got to be happy when you're not talking about the goalie Haley Chadwick much. She's a junior from Annapolis. 40 games played in her career, 35 starts. She's got over 200 saves in her career. She is 21-11 as the goalie of record. 21-11. And she's in the net again as a junior, starting for the 15th ranked women's lacrosse team in the country. Christopher Newport captains. Lynchburg looking for a defensive hold. 90 seconds left under that now here in half number 1. Good stick handling up in front, high, and then high on the shot. Off our netting, and we'll go back in play here. It's Christopher Newport. Looks to put one more dent on the scoreboard before the half ends. Kate Lemondola dodging and now passing. Hornets have been in the right place a lot. Good job to step up. Trying to get to the dominant shooting hand, and she will. Over the top, and it's a goal from number 15, Malin Eversole. Eversole came in from behind with speed. You could tell her intent was to shoot the entire time, and she did. Scores it. Went with a bouncer there. Don't know that the wet turf had any effect on that goal or not, but it is a goal for CNU. 8-2 now. 6 in a row for the captains after being tied 1-1, and now it's an 8-2 ball game. Lynchburg was hoping to hold on to some momentum after their goal and get into the halftime locker room with that. Hard to say if they still have it or not. At the draw circle for Lynchburg, Neely Morris, and for CNU, it'll be Emily Schultz. Last year in this game, Reagan Bradley scored twice for Lynchburg. She was the only player that scored twice in a 19-4 loss. CNU outshot Lynchburg 31-11. And the draw control in that game for Christopher Newport was 17-8. On the draw control side, that's pretty similar here today. Feels more and more like it's been dominated by the gals in blue. Down to 27 seconds left in the half. Shot clock is off. You would assume Christopher Newport would like one more goal before they go into the dressing room. Captains Drew Stanley's going to go to work. Now it's number 14, Faith O'Connor. Good defense by Lynchburg to close and converge in a crowd there. Meredith Bornholt will run out with it, and the clock will run out on half number 1. A good one for the captains. They go to the break with an 8-2 lead over the Lynchburg Hornets. We're back in just a second to recap the first half and get you ready for half number 2 on a soggy Saturday on Schellenberger. Lynchburg down at halftime to Christopher Newport.
If you like being close with your professors, if you like being in small classes that help with one-on-one, if you like being in positive communities that help you train your weak points and strengthen your strong points, then the University of Lynchburg is a great place to go. You can never go wrong with the amount of help that they offer, the amount of self-sacrifice that other people will put in for you. It has a beautiful campus, it has dedicated teachers, it has nice students, it has fun activities, and it has plenty of things to do.
I am a first-generation college student. I applied to 16 universities, and I actually had decided on going to a different university. But, doing, FAFSA and everything on my own, and the need for a good credit with the Parent Plus loan and everything like that, my plans kind of fell through. I just couldn't give up hope. So I'm rustling through this shoebox I have full of acceptance letters and financial aid letters. And I got my financial aid reward letter, and I also received scholarships from the school, and it was, the most affordable for me. They were excited to work with me. I financial aid really helped me out a lot with getting that situated, and I've just considered it a blessing ever since to go from 1 week not knowing whether or not I had to stay home for a year, and then the next week, you know, knowing that this is where I'm going. It was meant to be, and obviously I consider this place my home, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund. There would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, you know, Davion Washington. And so there's a lot to be thankful for, and it's definitely the people that donate. And like I said, not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and do the same thing. I know for a fact that, you know, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
It's not.
How you feeling? Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Living the dream.
USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Welcome back, lacrosse fans. Schellenberger Field on the campus of the University of Lynchburg is the site for today's non-conference action. We kick off 2025 here with a great matchup between the 15th ranked Christopher Newport Captains and the Lynchburg Hornets. Right now, CNU leading at halftime. And let's run down the goal scoring here for Christopher Newport. Kate Lemondola, a hat trick, 3 goals for her. It's 1 apiece the rest of the way out for Brooklyn Morrison, Drew Stanley, Emily Schultz, Malin Eversole, and Faith O'Connor. So 8 goals for Christopher Newport. Kate Lemondola has 3. And then, again, Stanley, Schultz, Eversole, O'Connor, and Morrison have 1 apiece. We were told in the chat that Brooklyn Morrison's father was a goalie here at the University of Lynchburg. That was the intelligence in the 90s, maybe in the early 2000s. We don't want Brooklyn's dad to feel old or anything. Shout out to the Morrison family. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for that intelligence there. Goals for Lynchburg, Neely Morris has 1. Chastity Kaner has 1. Correction. Is that right? That second goal, according to the live stats, is Neely Morris. Yeah, well, Neely Morris has the 1. We know that, but the other one is listed to the team. I don't think we got to go back and watch the tape. We got to review the tape, which, again, it's a digital file now. It's not actually videotape anymore, but you still call it the tape. When coaches say we're going to watch tape, we're going to watch film on the team. They don't say we're going to watch a digital file on our opponent as we wait for the officials to get back, get ready here. The teams are out there raring to go. How about some team stats? Draw controls, 9 for Christopher Newport, 3 for Lynchburg. We felt that was an area that Christopher Newport was having first an advantage and then really a dominating, decisive advantage on that draw control. Lynchburg, 11 turnovers. Christopher Newport, 8. Probably unsurprising considering the weather, and then additionally just the fact that it's early in the year. February lacrosse is usually not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing lacrosse of the season. I think all coaches would agree with that. Lynchburg, 5 saves. CNU 1. Lynchburg was 5 of 8 in the clears. Christopher Newport, 6 of 7. So really solid defensively for Christopher Newport. We felt Lynchburg was extremely solid defensively in quarter number 1. This was a ball game that was tied 1-1. Christopher Newport has led the entire time. We did have the one tie at 1 apiece, and then Christopher Newport really stretched the advantage out. CNU is 3 of 5 on the free position opportunities. Lynchburg 0 for 1 on the free position chances. We have not seen Sydney Dumas as much. Sounded like she was dealing with an injury issue. So let's find out, or let's just keep our eyes out and see if we get any Sydney Dumas activity in half number 2. There's a look at Lynchburg, trying to stay loose, trying to stay warm. The defensive unit having fun with it. You got to like that. Lynchburg is down 6, but why not dance your cares away? And again, on a day like today, movement really is about the only way you can stay warm out there. I'm shocked we didn't see more of the ladies go with the leggings or something to protect themselves a little bit more from the elements. You see most everybody's wearing the long sleeve shirt underneath the official outfit there. But it is a cold day. It is an extremely cold day and wet as well. But we're here and we're having fun with it. We hope you are too. How about some defensive stats? Meredith Bornholt, 3 caused turnovers, doing what she does best. Virginia Heffernan, 1 for Lynchburg. Neely Morris, 1 caused turnover as well. Nobody with multiple ground balls for Lynchburg. Brooklyn Morrison for Christopher Newport has 4 caused turnovers, 4 draw controls, in addition to the goal as well. Back to she does everything for Christopher Newport. She is a lot of fun to watch, and you get to watch her a lot because she's never going to be far from the action. That's how you gobble up all those stats and really stuff the stat sheet like that. You are around the ball quite a lot if you're Brooklyn Morrison, number 1. And she touched it there and moved it on along the line for Christopher Newport, who does take the early control here. In period number 3, 8-2, the Christopher Newport advantage. For Lynchburg, they are supposed to be at home this Wednesday, February 19th, against Virginia Wesleyan. I would say the weather forecast really puts that game in jeopardy. So check your schedules, lynchburgsports.com. Follow us along on all the social media destinations that you like to enjoy, because we'll get you the update. Sound like from the athletic director, John Waters, there was a chance some games could be moved up to Tuesday of this week for some of the Lynchburg teams, but others probably will have to wait until maybe after this snowstorm. And you know how those forecasts go. As a whistle blows, that's going to be a penalty on Christopher Newport. I think it was a moving screen, maybe. But you know how the weather forecasting goes. It's still not a sure thing that we're going to get snow in central Virginia on Wednesday. But as we get closer and closer to it, it looks more like a sure thing. Taylor Doherty, she'll make a run into the offensive zone. We saw that some. Here's Chastity Kaner passing left side now. Hornets could get some early momentum here. Probably am guilty of overusing the word momentum on these broadcasts, but I do think it's an important piece. Sometimes hard to quantify just how important it is, but it does matter. If you can get on a roll, if you can keep that ball rolling, keep the spirits high, keep the other team under pressure as well. That's a lot of it too. Lynchburg dealing with a double team there. That's number 3, Carson Quigley, passing out of it, looking to get it back. Has the boomerang, now trying to take off. Stalled out there. Good defense by Carrie May, sophomore defender from Bel Air, Maryland, for Christopher Newport. Shot clock down to 17 for Lynchburg. Kenna Stein now. Tossing to Halsauer. She'll spin and turn, look to get inside. Timer at 5 now. Lynchburg's got to go. They threw it to the right area there with a long pass that was off target. Looked like Taylor Doherty trying to race it down. It'll be a shot clock violation anyway. Let's see if Lynchburg tries to jam up CNU here. Captains have been good in the clearing game. Only one failed clear statistically in half number 1. Good job to really switch the field, go from right to left. Great way to clear it there for CNU. And you really stretch the other team defensively as the Hornets hustle back to recover. 11:35 remains here in period number 3. It's an 8-2 Christopher Newport advantage. Starting to get some kind of fog and mist to go along. Hope I'm not overdoing about the weather. But it has been a feature of today's activity. One day we'll have a game where it's not. Here's Brooklyn Morrison. Now it'll go left side. It's Christopher Newport, patient, probing, methodical. Here comes the downhill run. Goal line extended pass, now right to the middle. That's a perfect setup. Ball handling not quite clean, but on the recovery, the shot will go in. And it's number 15, Malin Eversole with a goal. Looked like she just slightly fumbled the catch right in front, but recovered in time. Multi-goals now for Malin Eversole. She scores it there for Christopher Newport. They pad the lead up 9-2. Malin Eversole last season, 12 goals and 5 helpers. She's got 2 goals already this year, and she becomes the second captain to have multiple goals. It's a hat trick right now for Kate Lemondola. So put Malin Eversole on the hat trick watch, the senior from nearby Lexington, Virginia, which, if you don't know, is the home to the Washington and Lee Generals, the team that eliminated Christopher Newport last year. They'd like to get a little revenge on WNL, and those teams will meet in the regular season again. CNU's schedule, while we wait for the draw control to unfold, they're going to be at St. Mary's next Saturday, at Randolph-Macon Wednesday, February 22nd. Captains don't get their first home game until March 1st against the Hornets from Winchester. That would be Shenandoah University. Here's a draw control victory for Lynchburg and a march down the far right sideline. Scramble over there with 5 or 6 players involved. Still no real control of this ball. Now CNU will get the possession. Long pass scooped up. Good job to use the sideline there by the captains. Hornets back to the wall again. Good cut to the middle. A lot of space and a big swipe, high velocity. But it was blocked away. I believe Alexis Sin got a piece of that. The brand new goalkeeper here for Lynchburg, a sophomore transfer from Elkton, Maryland. Everyone talking about how excited they were to have Alexis on the squad this year. Goalkeeping was a sticking point and sort of a problem area for Lynchburg last year. You hate to talk about it in those terms because it doesn't really do justice to the players that did get back there between the pipes for Lynchburg last year. Hornets had to use 3 different goalies last season, including Kayla Brady, who was a field hockey goalie by trade, but came in and helped out for the Lynchburg women's lacrosse team. I mentioned briefly Carson Quigley played some goal last year for Lynchburg, and Corinne West also. So you hate to say that goalkeeping was a problem for Lynchburg because, again, it really sounds like a criticism for those 3 players. But it is an area that Lynchburg wanted to improve, and they feel like with the addition of Alexis Sin, they will improve there. Lynchburg holding on defense that time. Down 9-2, Chastity Kaner. Chastity Kaner will run through that one and toss it over to the right side as Joe Brennan returns from a warm and cozy Turner Gymnasium just to our left. It's just beyond Lynchburg's cage here that they're scoring on in period number 3. Lynchburg, of course, in the home whites there with the red and black trim. CNU in the road blue. Long pass to the middle. They were looking for McKenna Steinow, and that ball was knocked free. Long run from Carries May, who's really been an important part of the defense. We haven't talked about her much. Nice cause turnover, takeaway right there. Solid work by Virginia Heffernan. Heffernan's made some outstanding defensive plays. That was really good in open field there. Little one-on-one whack, get the ball free. Kaner trying to do the same. She'll scoop and run, leaving a couple defenders behind. Ball still free. Neely Morris was in the mix with it. Morris has got a goal for Lynchburg. But CNU will take the ball right back. Brooklyn Morrison. Always around it, as I said, always around it. Morrison winning that possession for CNU. Here we go. Captain's behind the cage again. Looking to set up the offense. Leading 9-2. Goal scoring has dropped off a bit here lately. Move inside. Saved by Sen. Faith O'Connor got free, really with a good look. Sen was ready for it. Seemed to read the body language of where the shot was going to go. Solid from Alexis Sen. Virginia Heffernan running. Didn't want to cross the line and get the Hornets caught in trouble with too many players on the offensive side. Smart move there. Jamie Thomas in the game. Chastity Kaner moving. Bolded defender. Lost the ball. Whistles blow. What's the call? Things were picking up in pace there for a while as see about 5 or 6 players going to adjust the footwear, tying up the laces on the shoes. We talked about the mesh on the head of the lacrosse stick will loosen up in the wet weather. Well, I guess we have to say that the laces on the shoes will loosen up in the wet weather as well. To the middle it goes. Catch and shoot. Goal, Reagan Bradley. Ripping the mesh out and knocking the back out of the goal there for Lynchburg. Hornets needed that. A good feeling for Reagan Bradley, the senior from Ocean Pines, Maryland. Really good job to receive the pass in the middle as you see players tying the shoes for one another. Be a great teammate, right? But a great little catch there from Reagan Bradley, and didn't rush the catch and then the turn and shoot. I think very nice offensive fundamentals there. You know you're going to be surrounded by the defense, so the tendency is to rush that. Maybe you botch the catch or you spin quickly and don't get an accurate shot off. Reagan Bradley did none of those there. She executed it to perfection. And it looked like it was number 9, Chastity Kaner, who's playing a lot more. And really in the mix quite a bit more. Impressive stuff. Kaner again is going to pull one out of the sky for a draw control for Lynchburg. Ball still free. Scramble for it. Captains will take it away. This move to run across the field, left to right. Lateral player movement there with the ball. Impressive. That was for Shenandoah, Emily Schultz. Really showing some feel there and some lacrosse IQ. You tend to just run up and down to the goal and back to the other goal. She really broke down the defense by running east to west across the field. Nice. Captains in the offensive zone, still leading by 6. Credit Lynchburg for playing hard. They haven't let CNU rather, completely pull away in this game. Remember last year's contest went to the captains 19-4, and CNU was up 12-1 after one period of play. So again, this is a better result than that. There is that danger in just comparing that to last year, and can't feel completely good about losing, especially when the expectation for Coach Mackenzie Rafferty is that her squad wants to win. They want to win now. They want to win this year. But there are certainly some positives for Lynchburg in this one. And this one's not over yet either, as you see on your screen there. 5:18 left in the third. Clock will stop, because the officials stop play. It'll be Lynchburg ball. Meredith Bornholt going to run out of there with it. The senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, will toss up ahead. See if Lynchburg can get something going in transition here. On the fast break, we haven't seen a ton of this from Lynchburg, due in large part to the way CNU's really kind of dominated play. But now Lynchburg with a chance to do some transition lacrosse. They'll have to set up the regular offense now, though. Carson Quigley take the exchange on the overlap. Try to split a double team, still getting double teamed. Can't get rid of it. She will run through. Ball is loose. Scramble. Lynchburg trying to hold on to the possession. Becomes an ice hockey game down there. And the goalie for CNU will step in and toss it to the defender running behind the cage. You can tell CNU's good in those situations too. Those little scramble plays, those little unsettled kind of plays. They maintain their composure there. And then also, the skill helps, obviously. Skill and speed. You're going to get to more of those loose balls. Pick up the rollers, the ground balls, the pin balls. Captains will work it around the horn slowly. As you can see the speed from everybody slowing down a little bit. Again, first game of the season is part of that, and then also that cold weather. There's just no way to stay at top speed the entire game on a day and now an evening like this, as we have had the sun set and the temperature is going to drop even more. Ball came into the big basket of Alexis Sin there after a deflection, and the goalie takes hold for Lynchburg to get things heading the other direction. Virginia Heffernan across the midcourt stripe. She will just barrel house right through a couple defenders. Still on the move, thought about going inside, instead passes outside. Good run there by Virginia Heffernan. She's probably gassed, looking to the sideline. I think they asked her if she needed a break. She said, no, I'm good. I'll stay out. Lynchburg looking to build some momentum. Kenna Stein now working. That's Reagan Bradley. She had the most recent goal for Lynchburg. Offloading over to McKenna Hausauer. She'll start the dodge. Had it poked away. Good defensive play by, again, Brooklyn Morrison. She's so sturdy in those one-on-ones. She really doesn't need a lot of help defenders with her because she's going to lock you down, put the clamps on you. And really should get a lot of credit for getting the possession away from Lynchburg. Gabby Saya was in there. She started, sophomore from Monroeville, New Jersey. Captains on offense again, working here with the 6-goal lead. Wonder if Lisa Valentine, the head coach for CNU, would tell you they should have stretched this lead out more, or she thinks this is a pretty good spot for the captains to be in. We think Lynchburg's played better here in quarter 3. And the second quarter was really the problem for Lynchburg. Lynchburg men's team had a similar situation against Gettysburg earlier today. They were pretty good in quarters 1 and 3. Damage was done from Gettysburg in the second period. And a reminder one more time, if you've been watching the whole time, this sounds like a broken record, but this game was tied 1 goal apiece before CNU started to pull away. 7-2 advantage at one point. Now a 9-3 lead for the captains. They'll go to the middle. Good pass over the top and then a low shot. Ball is free. Lynchburg might escape danger with this one. Good job by the Hornets. Another good defensive stand. We've been impressed by the Lynchburg's defense at times. I would say more often than not, they've been in good spots. Taylor Doherty. High pass, corralled. I like how Doherty really kind of leads that clear. She can do it with her feet and her passing. Really a weapon for Lynchburg. Wonder if she'll look to score more this season. Spin there. Good move to get space from Hausauer. And then the whistle will blow. Free position opportunity coming up from Maya Hausauer, number 28. She'll get it set up. 5'8" soft from Pinehurst, North Carolina. A shot, a save. Goalie Hadley Chadwick hasn't had to make many saves today for Shenandoah, and Lynchburg, really, you got to say, when they've gotten shots off, been pretty effective with their 3 goals. But Chadwick there was right place, right time. The junior from Annapolis, ready for that one. Had a defender lurking behind, but plenty of field to know the situation there and get rid of it in time. And that's how quarter number 3 will end. Captains on top, 9-3 after 3. We're coming right back on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Here we go, 3 quarters in the books, 15 more minutes on the board, and Lynchburg will need to erase a 6-goal deficit. Christopher Newport, 9, Lynchburg 3. Kyle Haney joined by my great friend and colleague, Joe Brennan. Joe Brennan, fresh off men's basketball. We had the men's lacrosse game earlier out here on the soggy turf at Schellenberger and Joey B. It's a good start for Christopher Newport. A team that has had to replace a lot these early season games. You could just, some of the same things we said earlier, just put them on a tape and play them again. It's 2 teams that, they bring back a lot, but they're replacing a lot. Same kind of situation there. But for CNU, 15th ranked team in the preseason poll, they've looked pretty good today. We've seen some flashes from Lynchburg. This game was tied 1-1 at one point, Joe. Now a 9-3 advantage for CNU. That appears pretty rock solid, but you never know. If you're the Hornets, you get a couple goals and see where you're at, right?
Yeah, and this is a Lynchburg team that is already facing a lot of attrition early on in this season. A roster, it's been affected by a handful of injuries, and then you have a key playmaker go down in the early first quarter. I mean, to be down by 6 goals and still in this contest with 15 minutes to go does show you a lot about what Lynchburg can offer this season. But granted, we'll find more and more about this team as the season moves along.
Yeah, hopefully the injury situation to Sydney Dumas is not serious. We won't speculate, obviously, but she did play briefly in the first quarter. You heard Joe allude to that, and then we weren't seeing her out there, and we did get the word that she is out with injury. Another good setup here for Christopher Newport.
Yeah, I actually saw her head to the locker room while I was in Turner Gymnasium, and she actually took a tumble heading to the locker room as well.
Free position chance here for CNU. They've been pretty good at these, 3 of 5 in the first half, and they will finish this one off as well. Another opportunity from the free position cashed in on. This was number 8, Kate Lemondola. 4 for her, Joe, a Hattie +1. No, correction. That was Molly Campbell. No, it was Kate Lemondola. Sorry. Early in the season for the broadcasters, too.
Like a little jump rope right there.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'll use the excuse that the rain makes it harder to see, but it was Kate Lemondola with her 4th goal. Should have trusted my instincts. 4 for her. What an outstanding start to the season.
Oh, we've got rain on the glass in front of us, so, I mean, it does hinder your line of sight just to a certain extent.
Here's a fun one. Kate Lemondola, 5 goals last year, 4 today. So there you go. Does look like she played in 19, started 7 for these captains.
I mean, when these two teams faced off last year, it was CNU by a mile in the first quarter. They outscored Lynchburg 12-1 in that opening 15 minutes. So much more competitive through 3 quarters here today. But a good capitalization off the set piece opportunity right there. And those are the kind of plays that early on in the season you'd like to get, 75, 80% of them. By the end of the year, you'd like that to be around 90%.
Yeah, great call there by you. Lynchburg was 44% in the free position opportunities last year, so that will be an area that they look to improve on. And the draw controls, we've seen that. The draw control, so much more about the players around the two in the middle in the women's game. Not that doesn't happen in the men's game with the face-offs, but that draw control, CNU really uses their foot speed and their athleticism to get to so many of those loose balls. And they're going to do that to a lot of people this year, no doubt about that. But draw control is another area that Coach Mackenzie Rafferty has said, yeah, we need some improvement on that this year as a shot goes high out of the stick.
Yeah, that was just a great defensive stand right there by Taylor Daughtry. Did a good job of just getting her stick in the mix and disrupting the player coming across the middle.
And she's been great defensively today. Lynchburg thrilled to get her back after a season that was cut short due to injury last year. Of course, Meredith Bornholt, another of those defensive stalwarts. Virginia Heffernan has been solid on the defensive side for Lynchburg today.
Yeah, this team has a lot of talent on the defensive side, and now that you put a new keeper into the mix as well this year, it does give you a lot of optimism moving forward for this side of the field for the remainder of the season, especially with a keystone player like Bernhold. She's already on pace to be etched in the record books for caused turnovers, for ground balls, you name it. I mean, she can impact the game in so many different ways from that side of the field.
Saw the save there from the new goalie, Alexis Sin. Good job to carry that one in, and then Lynchburg able to break it out. I think if you're Lynchburg, it's tricky because you call it a moral victory, whatever you want to call it. There's a danger in being happy with a loss, but there are a lot of positive takeaways from this. And it's not in the loss, or it's not in the books as a loss just yet. We still got 12 minutes of lacrosse to play. And again, you never know. Score a few if you're Lynchburg, see where you're at. Reagan Bradley has netted 1 today. She was in the mix there briefly. And now Margaret Scoggin at the top with Kaner looking around. Tosses right side to Bradley. She'll catch. Had the avenue there. Shot wide left.
And that's a great offensive possession. Well, you're talking about moral victories. A possession like that kind of shows you what Lynchburg is looking for today. While they don't necessarily capitalize on that sequence with a goal, you see great ball movement. You see active feet around off ball, cutters trying to find the. It's exactly what you're looking for. And a lot of positives to take away from little sequences like that.
Solo takeaway from Kate Lemondola for CNU. So in addition to scoring goals, she's good in that area as well. A great opportunity for Reagan Bradley. Shot it wide. It's interesting. Some folks would tell you make the goalie make a save. Others would say shoot it wide and then be the first to get to it as it's going out of bounds and put it back in play. Here's a little scramble in front of the Lynchburg net that's probably going to result in a free position chance for CNU.
And I don't know about you, Kyle, but I think it's a mix between both. You want to find a happy medium, but it also depends on the player. Some players are going to try and hunt for corners and really try and paint those edges, while others are just trying to make life difficult for the keeper and just continue to spray them. Back in my heyday, I was just trying to get it on goal. I wasn't trying to paint any edges.
More of a shotgun than a sniper rifle?
Yeah, you could say that.
But the balance is a great point here, as it is a free position chance, and it's a conversion for Emily Schultz, another one for the sophomore from Warner's, North Carolina. CNU continues to be great in the free position opportunities. It's Warner's, New York, I beg your pardon, for Emily Schultz.
And she had weak side help coming from Daughtry and did a great job of shielding her stick with a quick little face dodge to grab some separation and get her hands free in order to convert.
I love the uniqueness of that free position opportunity in the women's game. Joe, we don't get that on the men's side. Maybe a close equivalent, I guess, in field hockey is the short corner. Not quite the same thing, but similarities.
It feels like if a penalty kick and a free kick had a baby in soccer.
That's a fantastic way to sum it up. Exactly right.
Can you imagine if there was that? Your game's baseball. Can you imagine if there's like, all right, we're just going to throw 50 right down the pipe?
Yeah, or you got to put the ball in a tee. The other team did something wrong, so you got to hit one off of a tee. Exactly, yeah. Because you're not guaranteed success. The defense still has kind of a chance. And back to what we said, I mean, everybody says, hey, we've got to be great in the free position. Some teams execute it. CNU today is one of those teams. As this one's going to get scooped off the carpet for another draw control for Christopher Newport. There you go, back to that area again. I think if you ask women's lacrosse coaches, they would tell you if we can dominate the free positions and the draw control, we'll be in good shape. CNU has done that. Yes, there are other areas of importance, but those are two that really get harped on, and with good reason. You see how impactful they can be to the game. 11-3 is the captain's lead. They go looking for more.
Good ball movement here to start off this possession. Just trying to feel out the Lynchburg defense and see what can open up. Just wait for a matchup that you like, and it seems like they found one.
Yeah, at the top, downhill. Good defense from Lynchburg to stall out number 18, Emily Schultz again. Just scored on the free position chance. Kate Lamondola was calling for the ball, won't get it. Down to 25 on the shot clock. Still all kinds of time for the CNU offense. Seen a few shot clock violations, Joe, before you got here. But for the most part, teams are letting them fly pretty early and often in the possessions.
What a spin move.
And then backed away from the defender to score it. Yeah, outstanding right there. A lot of times the offensive player, you spin and get the contact with the defender. You want to keep going downhill. That time, almost a little step back from Kate Lamondola. She had 5 last season. She's got 5 this year. Another one, very skillful goal that time to get some separation and then fire from a little bit deeper.
And that was what I like to call a combo move, Kyle. She went to the spin move, brought it into a crossover, went left to right, got her hands free, and just put it right past the keeper. I mean, it's textbook. When you can lose your defender like that and make them go searching for a map, that's always a good sign for the offense.
Pittsburgh, PA. They're built different up there. Get this weather all the time up there in Pittsburgh. Kate Lamondola with 5, yeah.
You know, we had Gettysburg earlier on, and their head coach in Coach Toner is a Pittsburgh native, a guy that worked at Penn State for a long time. And when I got the chance to talk to him this week, I had to ask him a big question for all Pennsylvania natives. Sheets or Wawa?
That's funny. That's funny.
Typically, the western side of PA is going to be your Sheets territory.
Exactly.
And eastern is going to be more Wawa.
Yep, that's exactly the breakdown. Just like the Eagles-Steelers breakdown there, for sure. So it's a great call, and they do love their lacrosse up there. I mean, the sporting culture in Pennsylvania is very strong.
It's got more universities than any other state as well.
So
you're getting a lot of talent.
Is that per capita or just in general?
In general.
Wow. Boy, that one almost shocks me a little bit. But, you know, 2025, nothing should shock you anymore, right? Here we go. CNU on offense again. The captains from Newport News, Virginia. But, yeah, their roster really, they recruit well. They recruit their area well, the Tidewater. But then in addition, they go out anywhere to get this talent.
I mean, with the success that this program has had, oftentimes you get the luxury of picking the best crops wherever they're from. And obviously you get a good draw from the Virginia area, whether that be Nova or Richmond or the Tidewater, as you're saying, but also out of the state. A lot of people will come from all across the country to play for a top team in their respective sport.
Lynchburg's got their share of that as well. Reagan Bradley kind of inching her way away from the goal. She'll fling a long cross-field pass. to get Maya Halsauer involved. Ball is free. Take away, ground ball. Nope, not just yet. Still a battle for it over there on the far sideline. Slip and slide at times, as you can imagine, Joe. The traction doesn't get better as more rain falls. Here's Reagan Bradley again. Looks around in the middle. High pass. Kaner over the top and then slamming it straight down on the far side. Neely Morris.
Tic-tac-toe, Kyle. That's the kind of ball movement that we're looking for. We're talking about finding the positives in this kind of contest when you're trailing by 8 late in the last quarter, and that's the thing you'll look back on at the tape. You'll watch it before you go to bed. You'll watch it when you wake up in the morning, and that's what you try and recreate in and out every day.
And I beg your pardon, Joe and fans, it was number 13, Margaret Scoggin, with the goal. Sophomore from Raleigh. She scored 3 times last season, and she's on the board here in game 1.
And she's someone that I could definitely see having a breakout season in her sophomore campaign. The Raleigh native with a lot of talent, and this Lynchburg team could certainly use her offensive production this season.
Well, and with injuries, and that's not even a comment about today, it's just a comment about a lacrosse season in general. Everybody on your roster's not going to play all 18 games. In fact, Lynchburg last year, Joe, they only had 7 players that played all 18. So
Wow.
you're going to deal with injuries. Depth will be important. I think you're right about Scoggin, though. She's really somebody that could step up, and that's regardless of injuries. She's just got that talent. She's figuring out the college game. Here's a fun draw control. Snatch that one out of the sky. You have to avoid the raindrops to keep your eyes open to see it, and Lynchburg is in a hurry here. Down 12-4. The Hornets are going to keep playing hard and keep fighting. It's not a particularly deep roster for Lynchburg, just pure numbers-wise either. We see, for example, you and I saw Lynchburg men and Gettysburg men earlier, 50, 60 guys on the roster. Lynchburg doesn't have that luxury on the women's team. So really, if you're in uniform, you're going to be available, and you might get thrown right into the fire.
Oh, yeah, only 20 players on the roster this season. So when you say last year they only had 7 players play the whole slate of games, that might need to change this year. I mean, you truly might need half your roster to play the whole season.
It would be helpful anyway. And again, I guess that's maybe Captain Obvious stuff that we're saying. I mean, everybody wants to be healthy and be available, and there's steps that you can take to stay healthier. Some injuries are just flukes, and some things happen. Seems like everybody on campus has recently had the flu run through their team, so everybody has dealt with that kind of thing as well. And really, teams deal with that so much in college athletics. You're in such close quarters, whether it's the locker room or practice or hanging out, that one person gets a bug or a flu, and then all of a sudden, a third of the team has it.
And I think one of the most interesting stories of Division III lacrosse this offseason was what happened with Tufts men's. Did you see that? It had 14, 15 players that got a muscle disorder from over-exuberation in practice that were all optional practices for the team.
Yeah. That was one that you need to look that up, fans, if you didn't see it, because it's an interesting story, and there are some ins and outs to it. And then, everybody's entitled to their own opinion about what happened, but definitely a strange one. You're right. Man, nice dodge right there to get free.
How about the check?
Yeah.
Beautiful stick work right there from Neely Morris.
Impressive as a defender. Neely Morris has scored a goal in this game, by the way. That was good at the last moment. The key moment in that exchange, the officials are meeting just off screen, talking about what the call is going to be. Yeah, there we go. 3 in conversation and hopefully in concert, as Lynchburg's body language still seems to be good. Getting some laughs and some smiles from the players, some dancing and moving, and boy, this looks like I don't know. I mean, what did you see that the discussion could be here? Neely Morris is kind of going to walk by and look like she might have said something as she went by there. As Meredith Bornholt comes in your screen. Here we go. We're going to get the instructions delivered from our official. Refs have done a great job today, Joe. Talk about a tough day for them, too. I mean, it's miserable out there.
Man, not a fun day to be an official.
I guess you do expect some of it when you sign up to officiate college lacrosse. Here comes the official giving the word to Lisa Valentine, the head coach. Hey, you know, Lisa Valentine, day after Valentine's Day, probably an oversight on our part to not throw that one in there. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Hopefully Cupid's arrow hit the mark.
I thought you were going to wish me a happy Valentine's Day at first.
Absolutely. I want to spread the love to you, my friend. It's also it's a President's Day weekend. It's a big sporting weekend in other areas, and a big one on the lacrosse side. Weekend number 1, always fun. Here comes a long run, a jaunt down the field. But, yeah, happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Why wouldn't I, my friend?
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully you had some fun. Hopefully it was warmer than this.
It was certainly warmer than this.
I got to stop complaining about the weather. Maybe it does give the folks watching a picture of what life is like here today. Neely Morris tried to survey and get inside.
We're probably the only place in Lynchburg right now that's got open windows.
Yeah. Intentionally, anyway. Sauer throws it to the middle.
What a save.
Yeah, that was impressive. Scoggin tried to fire that one over the shoulder. No real angle there. And then the good save from Hadley Chadwick.
Nothing easy getting past Chadwick today.
She's talented. Junior from Annapolis. I said briefly that we hadn't talked about her much because she hadn't faced many shots, but she's been up to the task for the most part when she has had to keep them out of the cage. CNU by 8, 12-4. A little bit of a mishandle there by number 4, Carries May. See if it burns CNU or not. Hasn't so far. Elena Sorkin in the proceedings for the captains, who have not utilized their bench a ton, mainly the starters out there for Christopher Newport. Sometimes early in the season you see coach want to use the roster more. You're trying to figure out the combinations and what you have, and then also maybe the fitness not quite fully ramped up. But this game today, Lisa Valentine seems to be just fine with using the starters.
Seems like it's been a good recipe for him so far today.
Yeah, you can't really argue with the results. Not yet, anyway. And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, it's going to be a CNU win. Just a question of by how much at this point. Scramble for it here. Bornholt doing good work as the clock wound down. CNU was fine to just eject that one and hustle back and play defense. Another moment there for Lynchburg. Saw 3 or 4 really good defensive stands in half one, Joe, and I think that one you can file right under there with that, as well as Neely Morris is going to gallop into the offensive zone here with some speed. 2 minutes left to play. Again, Lynchburg in action on Wednesday, scheduled to be. Trying to talk about the weather less, but just keep your eyes on the lynchburgsports.com website and then the social media destinations for any potential updates as far as schedule changes go with anticipated winter weather on Wednesday, February 19th.
Meanwhile, for the captains after this, they'll stay on the road, heading up to St. Mary's College of Maryland. Then another ODAC opponent in Ashland as they face Randolph-Macon, their first home game not until March 1st when they host Shenandoah.
Yeah, they'll run through most of the ODAC and then in hopes of a long postseason run for CNU. Back-to-back NCAA appearances, third round last year, bounced out by Washington and Lee. It's a general team that they beat in the regular season.
And that's how they'll end their regular season this year. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, that's intriguing there as well. When you play a non-conference opponent that is probably going to make the NCAA tournament as well. Of course, you never know, but That's interesting. That's very interesting to have that matchup, final game of the season. I think that's one that Captain fans should be looking forward to. Under 30 to play now.
Well, what's so tough about the coast-to-coast conference is you only have so many teams. So you got to really beef up that non-conference.
Yeah, that's an interesting conference as well. If Lynchburg fans don't know anything about that, worth checking out. But the coast-to-coast conference
stretches from the DMV all the way to California.
Yeah. But then it's interesting because when you look at the schedule, you can argue, are they really in the same conference? You know, it's kind of two separate divisions of one conference, I guess, is another way to look at it. Oh, and there's another goal for CNU. Comes with 0.6 on the board, on the scoreboard outside. Horn's going to blow. Guess we can wait and find out if the goal counted or not. Yeah, it's officially 13-4. Christopher Newport is going to win it. They've blown the horn. I don't think we're going to go back out for another draw control. We're not. That's how the game will end, and it's a resounding victory for the Captains. Final goal coming from number 14, Faith O'Connor. 13-4. Lynchburg falls 0-1 to start the season. Christopher Newport 1-0. Joe, I know you didn't see the whole thing, but final thoughts on this or the whole day. A wild day on campus that didn't really go the Hornets' way, but we're in lacrosse season. That's something to feel good about.
Yeah, you certainly feel good that spring sports are back in swing. 3 home games today with crossover season amidst us. Lynchburg goes 0-for-3 in their home 3 games. Nevertheless, positives to draw all across the board. For the women's team, you definitely saw some positives on the defensive side and some flashes on the offensive end as well. And I think this team will continue to take steps in the right direction as their season goes on.
Big time shout out to all of our fans, including, I guess, is Brooklyn Morrison's dad in here? There's no – well, I know this is going to be awkward for the people that can't see the guy, but there's no way you played in the 90s because you look like you played 4 years ago. This man looks very young. Brooklyn Morrison, a talent for Christopher Newport. Her dad played here at Lynchburg. But, hey, seriously, Joe, shout out to our LHSN crew, man. They were out there in the elements. Caroline Gerke, who is not a camera person by trade with the video camera, but she got some incredible stuff out there, and I hope everybody stayed warm. Ethan Baratsky was here for the entire day. Josh Smith, Eli, all the guys down there that did basketball. I mean, this took a village today.
Oh, yeah, and some.
And then some. So we appreciate you stopping by. It might not have been our best broadcast, but it was our most recent. And of the spring season, it was broadcast 1 and 2 of the spring season. So we got that going for us. It'll get better as the year goes on. Results will get better for Lynchburg Lacrosse as well. Scheduled to be in action this Wednesday, but with the weather, we'll see. Stay tuned to lynchburgsports.com and all the social media spots. We'll keep you updated. Kyle Haney and Joe Brennan will say so long on a soggy Saturday night. We'll talk to you again soon. CNU 13, Lynchburg 4.